Jimbo's Garage.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Jimbo's Garage. Well, today's video, I'm going to be making a gable end roof vent. I'm going to insert a picture here, so I'm going to show you what we're trying to replicate. This particular one, you can see, is falling apart, and the client has asked if I could try to make something just like it and make it back to its new condition again. Now, these houses are over 100 years old. I don't know how old this is, whether it came with the house or not. It is custom made. It's something that you can't buy at the store. So what I've done is I've had my metal supply store actually help me out a little bit and pre-cut and bend the material for this project. I don't know if you can see this, but this is some Z metal right here, 1 inch by 3 inch by 1 inch. And then I've got the louvers right here. They're bent on a 45 right there, about 14 inches long, 1 inch by 3 inch as well. It's just something that I can't fabricate here in my shop. Maybe the louvers I can. I do have a press that's wide enough to do this, but the Z channel, no. I just elected to have them cut and bend everything for me. This can be a fun little project, so let's get started on today's video. Today's video is sponsored by King Metals. They've got all your fabrication needs in one location. From hinges to hardware, balusters to metal decor, brass to aluminum, and a whole lot more. You name it, they've got it. Check them out today at kingmetals.com. Now let's get back to today's video. All right, so this little project has posed a lot of challenges for me here. I made a lot of mistakes, and I didn't show those mistakes, but they were in the cutting of the frame right here. This Z metal and then trying to get the angles just right, I had such a hard time with that, but you know, ultimately I was able to get it, and it definitely was a bit of a challenge. You might even be able to see some of the lines that I have marked on there, and I'm not cutting to those lines because I had to make some adjustments. And here I'm just test fitting the piece in. I finally got this piece to work right. Changing the angle again right here and trying to figure out which way the Z channel goes and try to line things up. And you can see I've got that mark there. I'm not hitting that mark. I'm slightly off. This is one of the mistakes that I had made some adjustments on. So I don't know, it was a little bit of a challenge. And you can see I've got that 1.5 inch square tube in the front, and I've got another inch by 2 inch piece in the back. That's to offset the 1 inch angle I have right there to hold that Z channel in place nice and straight and solid to make the cuts. And you can see I made that adjustment back to a different angle, and there was just a lot going on, but I was ultimately got it all done. You can see that I laid it out on my fabricating table right here with a Sharpie and got the angles right where it needed to be, got the dimensions right where it needed to be, and that's a good way of doing this. I mean, I do that a lot on the table. I can't, and this is just another example of how important it is to have a fabrication table like this, just for this reason, to clamp everything down, get it right where you need it to be, and then that's what I did right here. I'm just tacking everything in place to be sure that everything stays nice and straight. And then once I got everything all tacked together, and now I'm going to take out all the clamps right here. Yeah, here in a minute I'm going to take all the clamps out. You know, this is 14 gauge material too. This is pretty thin stuff to be MIG welding. That's why you see me just spot welding or spot tacking, if you will. Now that I got everything tacked into place, now I'm going to go ahead and weld out the areas that I can weld out. And you can see that's what I'm doing right here with the 14 gauge material thin. So I'm just taking my time and I'm just bumping the trigger along and just filling that in. That seemed to work pretty good for me. I got another angle here that I'll show you that you'll be able to see. You can see how it filled in those gaps. Some of those gaps were pretty good sized, and I had to take my time and go through it. Here you go is another example. Just bumping that trigger along and just kind of filling in as I need it. You can see that worked out pretty good. All right, so once I got this frame welded out all the way around, I'm just grinding the outside. This is the only part of this vent that's going to be seen, the outside of this frame anyway, the outside edge right here. It's going to be the flange that's going to be up against the stucco on the outside. And so that's the only part that I'm cleaning up. So for the louvers right here, I wanted to space them accordingly. And they were about, I measured them on the existing one. They were somewhere about 3.5, 3 5/8. And then what I'm doing right here is I did the math right here to lay things out. And if I remember correctly, that came in somewhere, well, I like to call it a 1/16 under a half. All right. Now, I don't know what that is. Maybe 7/16. I think that's what that is. But my whole life, I've always called it a 1/16 under, a 1/16 over. And that's what I ended up going with. Anyways, I marked it on both sides right here. And then for welding these things in place right here, the first one was easy. This one was just going right in the bottom of the frame right here. And then the next ones, I just use these mag squares. Now that I got the marks on both sides, it's just a matter of taking these the mag square and just kind of holding it flush to both sides. Now that piece you see me sticking in the middle right there, the reason why I do that is because when you start adding heat like this on something like this, it wants to bow in the center. And it's still going to do that, but by me putting that piece in there, that's helping it stay apart while I get the first half of these louvers welded into place. And you can see by me setting them in there, they seem to be going in pretty good. Those mag squares work really good by holding the louver flush to the outer frame, so I'm not high and I'm not low, and that worked out pretty good. Now I'm just tacking them in place right now. I'm just getting them to where they're I'm going to ultimately weld these things out, but I'm just trying to get everything in position, in place right now. And this is coming along here nicely. Everything is nice and flat to the outer frame. And now you can see I pulled that out, and I've got this one right here that went in pretty good in that one's place. And they start to get a little tight right here. This is where struggle a little bit. That's from putting all that heat in there, and it pulls it in. That's the same thing that happens in a gate frame or a fence rail or anything like that you're putting together. You can start introducing that heat, and it starts pulling those side rails in and bowing those in. And that's what's happening right here. I ultimately got this one here after banging it around, and it's in there pretty tight. I was pretty happy with it, but the rest of these, the last three right here, they ain't gonna do it. I've got to take them over to the Burr King. I got to take a 1/16 or so off, and they fit in there just right. And a 1/16 of an inch of bow here in this top section is not a big deal. You'll never see it when it goes in there, but you can see the trouble that I'm having. I thought maybe by just doing the one I'd be okay, but ultimately I've got to do all three of them to make them fit in there. These little projects like this, as fun and as simple as they are, this one right here, they can be very challenging, as this one was for me right here. I almost turned this project down because I didn't think I'd be able to do it, but somehow or another I decided I'm going to do it. I'm going to give it a try. I just love a challenge. I do the best I can to make things work, and this is, so far, it's working pretty good outside of a couple of mistakes early on cutting the frame, but I ultimately got that. All right, this is the very last one right here. I just want to be sure everything is right where it needs to be. I'm pretty happy with that. All right, so before I weld this out, what I want to do is I'm just spraying this anti-spatter. This is, I think it's the CRC product from their Weld Easy line of products. I'm not certain what it is, but it's just some stuff to spray on to reduce the spatter on these louvers. I was afraid that doing this welding right here, I might get some spatter on there and I wouldn't be able to get those off, and that's all I was worried about. So I just went ahead and sprayed that on. That stuff works pretty good. I've had it for quite some time, and I use it for certain projects. All right, so with all that done, now I'm going to go ahead and just grind those welds down right here, and I want a nice smooth finish all the way around the outside right here. I'm trying to make it look like it was one piece. This where it's going, this house is over 100 years old. I think she said it was 100, 101 or 102 years old, and these vents have been in there for that whole period of time, and they're paper thin. They're not 14 gauge material, and they've lasted that long. So this being 14 gauge, I just want them to look very similar or exactly like the ones before, and these are going to last another 100 years for sure. All right, got everything ground down. I'm pretty happy with that. The client wanted me to add some holes in here so they can, when they put it in the slot, they can go ahead and just anchor it in with some screws. And that's what I'm doing right here. These Champion twist drill bits are amazing, super sharp. I love these things. All right, so now it's time to put some screen on the back to keep the birds and the bees out and the bugs and all that stuff. Now, I could have used anything here, some real fine mesh or fine screen, but no. I had to choose this product right here, and it was a little pricey, but you know what? This is what I wanted to use. I really liked it. I thought it was what I needed to have. It's like 3/16 round holes on this stuff, and it just, to me, it just struck my eye. This is what I wanted to use, and so that's what I'm going with. Needless to say, I'm going to have a lot of this left over for a future project. And then this is just going right on the top right here, and then right through those 3/16 holes, I'm just doing bump tacks all the way around, about 3 inches apart. That's all I really need to do. All right, like I said, this was a super fun project. It was really challenging for me, but like I said, I love a challenge like that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm buttoning this one right up here and then taking it over to the powder coaters. I'm going to get it powder coated, and then I'll show you what the finished product looks like installed. Hope you guys enjoyed watching a video like this. If you do, let me know in the comments. It's short, sweet, but a good project. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.
See you next time on Jimbo's Garage.